Hey guys, Wargaming Lab here, coming back with the second part of the Wargaming Hills tutorial. In the previous video we just finished painting and dry brushing the rocks. Now let's move on to the ground cover. I already diluted some PVA glue here and have a couple jars of grit and dirt to use as my main ground cover. You can see the bigger one here. And here you can see the finer one. Now grab the glue and a beaten up brush. This step is really easy. All you have to do is cover the ground with the diluted PVA glue. You want to pay attention not to put the glue on the rocks, because otherwise the ground will stick to them. If you do end up with some glue on the rocks, it is not the end of the world, but try to be methodical. You'll get better results this way. When you've covered everything with the glue, just sprinkle your ground cover directly on the piece. Beware though, it gets pretty messy, so I would do the step outside. So here's the hill after sprinkling the soil and sun drying the PVA glue. You may have also noticed that I painted the sculpting plaster with a brown that I know color matches the soil in my area. It looks like I painted it, but trust me, I did not. Experiment with what works best with you. This is just to save the soil painting step, so if you don't find a good color match, well, just paint everything brown and you're done. Now let's move on to the flocking stage. We will be going on with 4 different flock colors to give the piece more depth. This is the darkest one, slightly lighter one, followed by the goblin green kind of flock like the old days. This one is blended turf from Woodland Scenics. And finally some light flock to use an highlight. We now go back to the diluted PVA glue and paint small patches here and there covering the whole piece. We are putting the shadows, so if you can, try to concentrate in the shadow areas like below the rocks. Notice I have a newspaper below my hill? Well, that's because this step is messy. You have to sprinkle the flock over the glue, but you don't want it to go everywhere. You also want to recover the excess to save some money. I know you can't see anything because of my hand, but I was just sprinkling the flock over the glue as you do with salt or spices on meat. When the glue spots are all covered, just give the piece a good tap on the back and recover the unused flock. Now repeat the gluing step again and move on to the next flock color. In this case I use mid-green scatter. I'll put the names and the links to these products in the description. Basically you have to do the same thing all over again. Just apply slightly more glue because this is your first mid-tone. I'll get all the flocking done and show you the final result. This is the ground after the flocking stage. As you can see, I left some brown showing, but I mix all the 4 colors evenly so they actually blend well into each other. Now we want to add some static grass tufts. I have some dead 10mm, spring 2 and 4mm from World War Scenics. Just start placing them when you think they look good. I've been sticking grass for a while and you can see how the piece already looks more alive. So let me show how I place them. I put a drop of super glue on the hill, then I grab a sheet where the tufts are, and using my tweezers I break the tuft to give it a more organic shape and stick it on the glue. If you leave them round, they look silly and artificial, but in this way they just blend right in. Now let's put some clumping foliage to further enhance the 3D effect. This is Javis dark green and light green Hedge. Grab a couple small pieces and put them on. Sprinkling is of course an option, but I will just do it one piece at a time. Let's speed up the video. As you can see, I was painstakingly breaking each clump into 2 or 3 smaller ones to give them a little variation and randomness. Well, doing one piece at a time took way more than I expected, but it gives you more control over the final result, so I still think it was the right choice. After this step is finished, the piece is practically done. It has a nice three-dimensional look and good contrast between the rocks and the green, but I still want to add another cool effect that I usually do on my bases when I paint stones. This is an optional step. The rocks already look really good, so you can use them straight away, but if you want to kick the quality up a notch, well, grab a bed paintbrush and let's weather the rocks with Vallejo pigments. Here I use slimy green light to simulate moss growing on the rocks. Give it a good shake and get what sticks to the inside of the cap. So, start slowly painting small patches in the rock's recesses, where humidity may build up. Don't overdo it, but still make it noticeable. Do you see it? The result is so natural and organic that you may not even notice it at the beginning. Pace yourself and keep going around the whole piece until you feel satisfied with the result. Let me tell you, this paint is so clutch for weathering stones that you will be coming back to this technique all the time. Finally, we paint some lichens on the rocks. First of all, get your palette ready. We are looking for a yellowish, brownish or maybe orange paint to simulate the lichens. I usually use Vallejo Japanese uniform, but I couldn't find it, so I used German orange ochre as a replacement. So grab some Vallejo airbrush flow improver and dilute the paint to a thin glaze. Then start painting the lichens on the rocks. Let me show you this a little bit closer. You know those yellow spots you usually find on rocks? That's what you're going after. The paint is a glaze, so the rock still shows through a little bit, but that's fine. This is a super easy and fun technique even for beginners. Try it out if you want, especially on miniatures where you want to go that extra mile for the realism with minimal effort. After you're done, just grab a spray bottle full of watered down PVA glue and seal everything. It does get shiny, so give it a coat of ultramatte spray varnish and you're done. I used a super light coat of Rust-Oleum frosted glass. So here you have it, a picture of the finished hill. As you can see, the result looks pretty good and will definitely attract a lot of attention to your gaming table. It took me a grand total of 5 hours, probably, including the drying time, but if you work in assembly line, you can be even more efficient. I put all the links to the material I used down in the description, so go and try this out and see how easy it is. If you like this tutorial, please like and subscribe so I can keep making more. And don't forget to leave your comments and critiques in the comment section below so I can keep improving. Thank you for watching.